Get ready as we have even more big news on patch 8.3. Brand new changes make 8.3 to be the best BFA had, with the legendary cloak becoming more legendary, Azerite gear to have the best traits, and oh my god, we know what the jailer looks like! So sit back and relax and let's kick it with On Cooldown, your weekly WoW news show.
We have been covering the 8.3 patch for quite some time, and the patch itself keeps getting better and better. It could still use some changes here and there, of course, but hey, that's why we are waiting until 2020 to have it in the game, right? Keep in mind that the systems and everything added are seeing at least some changes every now and again, and I'm not sure if anything has remained the same since its initial PTR release. The main thing to take away from here, well, actually two of them are: 1. Blizzard is testing the systems and taking the goods into the Shadowlands, leaving the bads in BFA, hopefully. And even with this, the bads are not as bad as you might think, in 8.3 at least. And 2, Blizzard is very open to feedback about pretty much everything. No, really, haven't seen Blizzard state so many times under so many different situations that they want our feedback, meaning they want to develop the game that we want. The one thing about this is the Heart of Azeroth that we also covered last week. We no longer have the infinite grind of Azerite power and instead just have it capped at level 80, with the last essence being available at 75. So realistically, we only have 5 levels to grind more until we unlock the last piece of the system, and 10 levels if you really consider the extra stamina node and necklace high levels as being part of mandatory character progression. The cloak will be another piece of gear to progress with a specific cap, so you don't feel like you will never be done with it. And with all this talk about grinding, the grindiness of 8.3 is less mind-numbing than in previous patches, mostly because there aren't as many levels to go through, and the proverbial AP you grind is kind of capped per week, meaning you are not incentivized to endlessly farm every minute of every day. Same thing goes for the Eye of ny'alotha item thingy that gives you a socket. It costs a crap ton of currency, yeah, we know, but judging the rate at which the currency will drop and Blizzard's general view on sockets, they don't want them to be as frequent as we have them now. The idea is to add a socket to a pant slot, for example, once per patch. You get your Blizz item in slot X, and by the time you get it, you would naturally have enough to also socket it. Again, this is because the grindiness has been reduced, where it's kind of like a daily or a weekly activity that cannot be spammed over and over, and if it cannot be spammed, you don't feel bad and cannot be forced to grind it like islands in previous patches. Right now, the corruption values have been made static to eliminate even further RNG. We will have 3 tiers of buffs based on their strengths, with 3 associated tiers of corruption: 10, 17, and 25 corruption respectively. With this, we officially have 3 layers of RNG down from the previous 4, which were reduced from the previous gazillion. And this might still not be the end version of the corruption gear, where we steadily start to say bye-bye to RNG. And the capping of currency you can grind has been reduced for horrific visions as well, so people with less time to spend on this won't fall super behind everyone else. And I think we can all agree that in 2019, we are past the point where grinding in an MMO is the sole determining factor for character progression, no? Debate it in the comments, yo.
Gotta say, man, it's really refreshing to cover lots of good news on World of Warcraft, and while this train is still going, you'd be right to want even more positive changes coming to 8.3. Well, my friend, the legendary cloak is about to get a bit more legendary because it will have a stat proc added to it once you upgrade it past level 6. Now, this thing with the upgrading is something you will do naturally in the game in order to have more corruption resistance for corrupted items and sanity increase for pushing more horrific visions. So don't feel you have to run out of breath farming shit to upgrade it. Well, not yet. The proc will be on your main stat, and for 8 seconds that will increase to roughly 25%, which will be super effective in any type of content you will do, as the damage/healing increases, no joke. And let's be honest here, when you first saw the legendary cloak on the PTR, you didn't think much of it, especially for a legendary. It just didn't feel it deserved the legendary title, being just a blend stat stick with the sanity increase, and that's it. But again, another sign that Blizz is taking in feedback. They slowly added more and more to it, making it a bit more worthy of the legendary status, although not there yet. Now, if you take a good wide look at all the things we are tackling character-wise, we can see that first, we have Azerite traits that accomplish an extra mechanic or value on your gear. Then we have major essences with an active ability or highly procable one, and 2 minors that work as passives, again attached to our neck piece, which, in case you forgot, it's another piece of gear on your character. Third, we have the corrupted items and the legendary Cloak, who again will bring you even more bonuses to the gear you're wearing. Does this look familiar? I'll give you a moment. Yes, you are right, you smart cookie you. It does look like what would tier sets provide. And think about it, you basically have 3-4 different systems added on top of each other just to achieve what tier sets used to achieve not too long ago. You can make an argument that tier sets did not allow you to change mechanics or values such as Azerite traits and essences, but let's be real here, 90% of the specs have cookie cut traits and essences, and they are rarely ever changed. I mean, sure, they can be changed based on Mythic Plus or rating, but the same thing could have been said with the tier sets when you had different ones for PvP and PvE, because back then we didn't have Mythic Plus, and nowadays PvE gear works pretty good in PvP also. This was the exact argument that Ian made when talking about tier sets, the fact that they don't want you to be locked in a tier set for a whole patch. But if you think about it, it's kind of the same thing with traits and essences. Anyhow, my point is that they should really consider dropping this philosophy of adding new systems every patch only to have you grind more and obtain the same exact impact as a tier set would. Food for thought, I guess, but hey, I'm sure you have a saying on this, so please, don't be shy. Speak your mind in the comment section or on our Discord.
Hey, did you guys get to see how the jailer looks like? Did you? I didn't see him, but then again, I can have these bastards kill me, and then I can go to the Shadowlands myself and see him. Well, let good old Orc know how he looks like in the comments.
Oh boy, here we go. Earlier this week, Pyromancer made a video about a leak with the jailer concept artwork, and now we have some drama rolling about. I'm actually a big fan of Pyro, but I won't touch on the drama or the actual artwork. Yes, if you guys wanted the spoils, well, tough, and for a few reasons. One, I'm still not sure if it's intentional or not on Blizzard's sides of leaking this, because we can all agree that the pre-BlizzCon Bolvar leak was clearly intentional to build up hype and aim people's attention at the upcoming expansion instead of, well, other things. This is fairly early into the expansion's lifetime and really still looks like a concept art that is subject to change. The value of it is to speculate and infer about certain lore pieces that could answer our questions. On that side, I actually like these things since really we don't know much about Shadowlands. There is also another side of the coin, and Marcelian pointed this out really nicely in a conversation we had. The art team essentially carries the game and has done so for years. I'm sure those artists were excited when they designed the jailer and were anxious to know how we reacted once we found out what he actually looked like. And if you're on the same boat, then this is yet another reason why we are not showing it. But fucking man, I watched Pyro's video and loved it and would watch it again. And you can check it only after you finished ours, of course, and see for yourself. If the leak is intentional, then I don't think the impact for the story would be that major, since the artwork confirms what the devs said at BlizzCon, that the jailer is not a figure we have seen before, so it could never have been a reaction like, oh, so that's what it looks like. The only worth it has is if we take it apart and analyze every bit of it. Since it's still a concept art, it might very well be unfinished, and if whatever speculations we have are not in line with what Blizzard envisions for the character, then the art can very well change. We might still see the jailer for the first time in 9.2 or 9.3, it remaining as a shadowy figure until then, meaning that Blizz has still about 2 years to finish the character. What do you guys think? Should we have more unintentional leaks? Can they be called leaks if they're unintentional? Questions.
And in today's comment of the day, we have Kobe Anderson, and he said,
Nice forehead.
So imagine this, sometime back, you just got into 8.2, you started raiding and doing aim plus runs, it's been a couple of weeks, you know what traits you need to be a goddamn beast, but hey, what do you know? Those gear pieces just won't roll the goddamn traits you need. I'm looking at you, this priest. Yeah, this was the story for most of us in 8.2, and to squeeze in even more good news, it seems that in 8.3 all the Azerite armor will roll the exact best traits for what your spec needs. It hasn't been confirmed by Blizzard, but you can be damn sure that our boys and gals from Wowhead dug it up, and sure enough, they pulled out all the items from 8.3, and look at those traits. With a few exceptions, they seem like the best to have for your spec. I mean, it appears like they took a long look at all the progress made in 8.2 and decided upon the best traits for each spec, and all Azerite pieces will have these. They are not final, so you have to remember we're still looking at an 8.3 PTR, but I will say we can add this to the good news train. Then again, 8.3 will be all about those corrupted items in your legendary cloak, while the traits will take a bit of a backseat, so it does make sense that they had to do this. That being said, you will still need Azerite gear, don't get me wrong, but gone are the days where you have to go to the Azerite vendor, buy a bunch of pieces, only to be slapped by the RNG overlords with some shitty traits you cannot even use. Good times ahead, my friend. Good times ahead. Man, this is great. We keep on getting good news and good news for patch 8.3, and I gotta tell you, man, I'm excited too, man.
I want Christmas to come early, man.
Well, you know it's gonna come
in 2020.
In 2020, January something. But
yeah.
I strongly believe this is a really smart move because
it has to be done. Yeah.
Look at the results. Look at the results. I haven't seen them being so open and getting in all the feedback since the days of Ghostcrawler. If you guys remember Ghostcrawler, that is. So that's
that definitely didn't happen for 8.0 and 8.1.
Oh,
it started to happen in the last two patches, but we're definitely seeing it for 8.3, where they're definitely scheduling their postponing just to make sure that everything's running okay. And I mean, the amount of change that we see on a week-by-week basis, it's clear indication that they are working hard to make sure that, you know, we get what we want, man.
It's very heart settling, because if you ever had the curiosity to go onto the Reddit or the 8.3 development forum, a lot of these changes that appeared like on a weekly basis are in fact posts from people who got answered with the blue guys, with blue posts, and they were added in the game. It's amazing, and you know, this is a great sign from Blizzard finally, because we all know BFA turned out the way it was because they didn't listen to any fucking feedback
and no PvP vendors.
And exactly, Ian. Anyways, yeah, we got to see the jailer now, didn't we?
Oh yeah, I hopped on that.
Yeah, you humped it. It's fine, man. It's all about the drama. Oh, this is online. Yeah. It's all about a huge drama being poured out of this.
Yeah, like why
video.
did he show it? I mean, the picture that Pyromancer leaked wasn't emailed to him specifically by the person that took it.
That's what he said, yeah.
That's what he said. He said that it was already out there, and it's fine. I mean, if he gets it, I mean, I would probably show it if I got it, although there are pros and cons here, and I know Marcian's gonna touch on one of them.
Well, there's actually two ways of looking at this, okay? So obviously there's the one that, hey man, it's a picture, it doesn't like spoil too much, you don't know his story, you don't know his motive, it's a brand new character, you can speculate on him, I'll give you that. But the other side of the coin is that I can strongly relate to this one, as you have to think about it like this, man. The art team at Blizzard has been and is among the best in the industry. We gotta say this, and you have to think about the culture that has been developed within Blizzard, especially with the storytellers and the art team, and I think the game devs as well. There's this inside culture that has been brewing for years on Blizzard that hey man, let's cook it up secretly, and once it's out, we can all enjoy the boom reaction from everybody. That's something they are really motivated by.
Yeah, that's how they made us the Sourfang Sylvanas cinematic, right? Nobody knew what was gonna happen.
Exactly.
It was a big turnaround.
It's a huge motivator for them, and this being out, I think it really made a lot of people sad, especially like the dude or the dudes or dudettes. I don't know how many people worked on that concept art, and for that reason, I don't think we would have shown it. We didn't show it in the video.
Yeah.
I think it's out of respect for those guys who are again really living for this type of stuff, like the big reveal. We would have shown it, and it's not being shown in the video either. That being said, I don't think Pyromancer did something super dramatic or anything like that. You know, he did what he does best. Okay, he's the WoW content creator who speculates a lot, who goes over leaks, who goes over a lot of the lore, and you gotta respect him for that.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know what he's doing, then I don't know what you're doing. But if you know what he's doing, then you know he's gonna have these kinds of things, right? So it's... But of course, we cannot end the week here without thanking our lovely Patreons. Guys, you support us and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We love that you love our content so much that you feel the need to give out your hard-earned casherinos. And I mean, if you are also interested in supporting us a little bit more, there are the Patreon links down below the video, and maybe even some merch. Yeah, we do have some merch. Look at that!
Look at that!
This is the Ashburger. Check.
Well, you have to know what you'll be supporting. So, in case you don't know, we do class guides, 2 class guides per week. We do this on cooldown WoW weekly news show, and also on top of that, we do 5 streams per week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, which is tomorrow, and it is the biggest stream. So you better hop your ass on.
Saturday is gonna be a long stream, and of course, the week doesn't end there either, because we're gonna have our newest guide on Sunday night, which you guys should check out. And until then, you guys should have a really nice weekend. Take care.
Great weekend. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye.
Cheers. Peace.
Bye.
You